Hi, my name is Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to once again pick up a common lie about membership of the EU, namely that nationalisation of industries is against EU rules. Now, it was bad enough when people on the left were thinking this rubbish, when it's fairly patently obvious it is rubbish, but now we've got a former Tory MP saying it and a number of people on the right as well. But first, if you'd like to receive notifications for upcoming videos, please subscribe to the channel and also click the bell icon as well. So this one shouldn't take too long to sort out. Sam Gyimah is one of the Tory rebels who opposed Johnson's attempts at a no-deal Brexit, said that Labour's promise of free broadband for every household and business in the country was proof that Labour was going to take us out of the EU. He based this on the notion that EU state aid rules say that you can't do this. But this is wrong. It's moronically wrong. For two reasons. One, the EU doesn't really have much in the way of state aid rules. It has some. Most of them that you would associate with EU state aid rules are actually a reflection of international WTO state aid rules that every country has to obey, whether we're in the EU or not. Remember those WTO rules that Nigel Farage says is brilliant? Those are the ones. The second thing is that none of the state aid rules prohibit the nationalisation of industries, whether EU or WTO rules. None of them. This should be obvious enough, as we have industries that are nationalised right now, and several other EU countries have far more than we do. I mean, look around you. France is a really good example of how you have nationalised industries working perfectly well without any problems from state aid rules. We're not even talking about a hypothetical situation where we've got to look at the legislation, can we do this? We've had to do that quite a lot in the last year or so as lots of unprecedented things have happened. This is far from unprecedented. The scenario actually exists in other countries, obvious to anyone who would like to look beyond their own little bubble. So the nationalisation of our telecommunications is not a problem. Sure, Labour wouldn't be able to ban private companies from trying to offer a service. State aid rules do mean that you have to let them compete, but we have to do that outside of the EU anyway. But then there's this issue of providing the broadband for free. Now, to my legally untrained mind, I have to admit this one is not necessarily so obvious. It's obvious we can nationalise, an internet, have a national internet company effectively. Can we offer it for free? Because after all, if you're providing the service for free, you're not exactly allowing competition, are you? Well, yes and no. So the way, again, without going to legal experts, which I will in a moment, the way I'd look at it is that, well, healthcare in the UK is free. At least it is at the moment, unless we actually let the Tories in again. So here's an example of the state providing a service that we don't pay for. Other than from our taxes, we do pay for it, of course, but we don't pay at point of contact. We don't pay as we're using it. So if we're allowed to have healthcare provided for free by the state, why not communications? After all, there are still private healthcare providers. Wealthier people are still willing to pay more for a better service. And so the same could easily be true of internet services. But that's just my untrained mind. That's not proof. There may be a legal issue with Labour's plan for free broadband. Maybe, for example, there are certain exceptions that cover healthcare. Yeah, you can give free healthcare, but not telecommunications. But no, as you might imagine, legal experts have been pronouncing on this, and although they say that Labour would have to make sure they've got the legal advice right and that they construct it carefully, they can't just go in like a bull in a china shop, there is nothing to prevent free broadband for all households and businesses, whether from state aid rules or from any other law. So there's nothing to stop Labour in government delivering on its promise for free broadband for all. It's costed and perfectly legal. If Parliament votes for it, then there is nothing at all to stop it. And, that is as the UK as a fully committed member of the EU. No problem at all. So I hope that clears things up and that you found the video interesting. If you did, then please click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, then please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.